Alright, so if you're new here and you can't tell by my hair, I've been looking forward to Lacrimosa coming out. Today we're going to be discussing Lacrimosa's best arcs, her best build, all of that good stuff in this Lacrimosa guide. So Lacrimosa is our sleepy little tomato princess. She's a chaos, damage over time, on-field main damage dealer, and I'm super excited now that she's finally here. Lacrimosa's best arc is the Last Rose. Its substat is crit rate. Its arc effect, Bohemian Rose, increases Lacrimosa's attack by a percentage. It grants 1 stack of Chaos Thorn each time the wearer deals damage over time, which Lacrimosa is going to be doing tons of, and this increases her crit damage by a percentage for each stack that you gain, and it stacks up to 10 times. You can also instantly gain 10 stacks by using your skill. The Last Rose's last little feature is that it extends the broken state of an enemy by an extra 3 seconds, which allows you to deal even more damage during a break effect. This arc is obviously built just for her, and it synergizes very well with her kit, since you're going to want to be keeping up your damage over time, which is your nightmare stacks, which, just like your arc, also stack a maximum of 10 times. So this arc really has everything you want. It's got crit rate, it's got 60% crit damage when fully stacked, it's got flat attack percentage. It's going to be pretty good on her. Some alternative arcs you could consider would be Fluff of Fleetness if you've got the Battle Pass, Youthful Fantasy if you're not already using that on Daffodil, which I highly recommend, or if you just happen to have another copy, but that one will work all right on her. And then if all else fails, the A rank arc Shiny Days will be the best free-to-play option. Aside from Youthful Fantasy, which you should be using on Daffodil provided you have her. But that is technically the better free-to-play option. Lacrimosa's console setup should look something like this. On your main cartridge, you want Chaos Damage bonus if you could get it with some good substats. This is a beta build, so my stuff is not optimized here. But you want Chaos Damage as your main attribute. Hopefully in the substats you get some crit rate, crit damage, damage percent, flat attack, or cycle intensity. On your modules, you're going to want to squeeze in these 4 3-pieces that we've got here. This will give us the 40% chaos damage bonus, which we gain for having the type 3 modules equipped. Then we're able to squeeze in the other pieces to optimize it in this way. If there's any better optimizations out there, we'll find them, but this is what I've found that works the best right now. With these pieces, again, we are looking to prioritize attack percent. We want universal damage percent, crit rate or crit damage, cycle intensity, or flat attack. Of course, for our set, we want the Diablo set. We get that plus 10% chaos damage boost from the 2-piece, and then with the 4-piece we are able to ignore 12% of enemy chaos resistance, which increases to 24% when the enemy gets hit with Nova or Scorch. Now for our awakenings. If you're going to be a beast like me, you're going to pull for some awakenings. And if you're not a beast, or a whale, or a dolphin, you might pull for one awakening. One awakening that you really want to pull for is her A6, which as you can see on the beta, I can totally read this. Lacrimosa's A6 Morning Spell allows Lacrimosa to automatically cast her support skill and trigger the corresponding cycle without cycle energy when switching to her from any character that can trigger Nova, Scorch, or Discord within 5 seconds after casting her spell. So her A6 is essentially just Esper Zero's skill. It'll allow for really crazy cycles. It's going to be a really insane quality of life feature. If you are pulling for any copies, you're doing it for the A6. If you happen to get lucky and get a copy and you don't plan on pulling for more, take that A6. But if you do pull for more, the next on the list is going to be her A4, which extends her nightmare duration to 6 seconds instead of 3. This is her damage over time. It effectively doubles the amount of damage over time she does, so it's pretty good. From there, her A1 further increases her nightmare damage, synergizes very well with her. Her A5 would probably be next on the list. It essentially prevents the dot, the damage over time, from being removed if the enemy heals or has any way to prevent it from going its full duration. Then we've got her A2, which increases her damage by 15% for 15 seconds when she switches in using a support skill. So we're going to want to be cycling a lot. This will further increase her damage. Then last but not least, if you're going all the way for A6, this is the last recommendation, Molten Ice Cream. It triggers all accumulated nightmare effects on the target at once the 5th hit of Tomato Metal or Tomato Percussion lands. We'll get more into what those are right now. This is essentially like a burst of damage. It doesn't actually increase her damage. Like, it increases it more to like a burst window rather than the damage over time ticking, but it doesn't increase her raw overall damage, especially if you're swapping her off field and you're expecting that damage over time to be putting in work. Now we've got Lacrimosa's abilities. Lacrimosa can be put in the cafe and get some cafe bonuses. Great. When you use her in Pink Paws, you get a boost to your Fawns and Pink Paws coins that you acquire while doing the heist. This is great to help you get done with your heists quicker, but it will not exceed the bi-weekly amount of Fawns that you're able to gain. But you can stack up on some Pink Paws coins, so that's pretty cool. Then we've got our support skill. She comes in, she deals chaos damage. And of course, she could trigger any effects that apply to your Esper cycle in that way. Then we've got her first passive, which is Discord Enhancement. Discord Enhancement is really cool because you're going to want to play her in some Discord teams. Essentially, it deals 400% of your attack to the target whenever Discord is triggered on an enemy that is already broken. Big burst of damage. Very cool. And her other passive grants one additional attempt of Morning Tomato after Lacrimosa uses Tomato Metal or Tomato Percussion 5 times during the skill cooldown, and this only activates 1 time per skill cooldown. So essentially her skill Morning Tomato, you could cast it and then it'll go off cooldown if you do your basic attacks enough. Lacrimosa's basic attacks, she's got both a melee and a ranged basic attack. It's pretty cool, you're able to swap back and forth between those. I would suggest using whichever one feels most fluid and comfortable to you. Here's Lacrimosa's melee basic attacks. She just swings around, dashes a little bit. Pretty cool, but then if we press our ranged button, we're going to switch over here to a ranged basic attack. And at the end of that ranged basic attack cycle, we fire a bazooka. So that's pretty cool. Having the ability to swap between a ranged and a melee attack feels really cool. Even if it's not for like any practical use, like let's say all things are equal, just the ability to be like, today I want to do ranged or I want to switch it up and play melee today. It's pretty cool. It's not game breaking or anything, but it's neat. And then we've got her skill. It's just a burst of chaos damage. And then of course, as discussed regarding her skill, you can hold down your basic attack button. You see how it's got the little bat wings around it? I could steal its skill and transform into it. You're going to be able to do this to many different enemies. I don't know which one is best. We're going to wait till somebody who's better at the game than I tells us which one is best, and we'll use that in the future. And as you can see, as I'm sitting here bopping Sorrenti, there's a little counter above his head that goes up to 10. That counter will deplete 1 per 3 seconds unless if you have the awakening to make it double that. And that counter is going to be our damage over time stacks. So we want to make sure that we keep that counter as full as possible. We're taking a lot of damage here. But yeah, we pissed Sorrenti off enough. Your basic attacks, your skill, your ultimate, they're all going to apply those nightmare stacks to whomever you're fighting. You want to keep that as close to 10 as possible for as long as you can. And then of course, we've got her ultimate. Her ultimate does actually change based on what form you're in. If you're in the melee or the ranged form, it will change up what her ultimate is. But ultimately, it does the same thing. You isekai the enemy, you deal a bunch of damage, and you apply more dot to them. Another fun note is that Lacrimosa's skill, Morning Tomato, can link into the 5th combo of her basic attack string. So that's neat, you could utilize that. Then once you start copying the monsters, they'll show up in your little monster Pokedex. You could forget the skill, you could learn the skill. Once you've unlocked it though, you don't have to go back and unlock it again. So that's neat. Gotta catch them all. Tomato Devil. Here's the Tomato Devil one, it's pretty cool. You just blast them. Next up, we've got to talk about our teams. I've been talking about this for a while. This is the team that I intend on using day one with Lacrimosa. It is going to include Lacrimosa as the main on-field DPS, Daffodil for breaking and charging up Esper cycle, Sakiri for grouping as well as her ultimate giving a fat attack boost, and then a big deal about Sakiri is her passive Can I Eat This, which increases dot taken by the target by 25% for each type of dot effect while they're in the scorched state. So she just inherently boosts dot characters if you're using the Scorch effect. And of course, we will be using the Scorch effect whenever we swap from Sakiri into Lacrimosa. But we'll also be using the Nova effect, which is what Haniel enables. Haniel is going to be our other buffer, which is great. However, if you want, you could use Fadia for more survivability. If you don't have Sakiri, then Adler is an option. Adler will also give you more survivability, some dot of his own, and he is a decent, cheaper option. If you don't have Daffodil, things kind of get interesting. You could, for example, use Zero just because you want to use this skin. I don't blame you. And you could also get off way more Esper cycle reactions. Imagine if you have a copy, an additional copy for A6 of Lacrimosa, plus you have Esper 0, you could get a ton of cycles going. Seems like it could be pretty good. And then if you don't have Lacrimosa, I don't really know why you're watching this video because this is a Lacrimosa guide, so this is my attempt at humor at 11 p.m. Now, as you notice in this second team here, we got Lacrimosa and Sakiri. I think these units work really well together. That dot bonus and that attack boost and that grouping for Sakiri, she's just a little beast. But this team is a little bit different. Fadia again is the premium option here. Can be swapped out with Haniel, but for this team, this is a pretty premium team. You've got all S-rank characters here, very cool. Fadia will help sustain, Sakiri will help group, buff, etc. And the difference here is Lacrimosa is going to be used to enable a lot of dot as well as Scorch, Nova, and Discord, but you're going to primarily be using Bai Seng here for your on-field damage dealer. I know I'm not going to be using this team on my main account, mostly because I want to play Lacrimosa, but also because I kind of lack Bai Seng and Fadia, so we won't be doing that one. The third team here is an interesting one. Again, many people are just going to be wanting to use Esper 0 because of this skin, and I don't blame you. However, this team is mostly focused on using the Hexed and Scorch cycle reactions. You're going to get off a lot of cycle reactions, you're going to use Nonali and Lacrimosa as your main on-field DPSs. It's a pretty interesting one. I doubt I will be using this one. I've already got my Nonali team all set up, so I'll probably be rolling with my first team option. Another option here, if you don't have Daffodil, you could use Esper 0 like I said, but you could also try out using Hattori. I think that there is some application here that could be pretty cool. When you use Hattori's ultimate and you're able to replay Sakiri, Haniel, and Lacrimosa's abilities, I feel like there could be some pretty good synergy there, so we could probably make something work with that as well. But at the end of the day, this is the team that I'm looking at using. I'm curious what you guys plan on using. Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to theorycraft a little bit more with you guys as we continue to enjoy this game. Going into fights, I'm going to be charging things up with Haniel and Sakiri. I'm going to get both of them charged up. Then I'll swap Haniel into Daffodil, getting off the Nova effect. This is going to be the first window where I'm trying to break the enemy whilst charging up Daffodil. Once Daffodil is charged up, I'm going to swap back into Haniel. When I swap from Daffodil into Haniel, Nova will go off. When I swap from Haniel into Sakiri, hopefully Sakiri is charged up. I will then swap into Lacrimosa so we could get Scorch and Discord off. Hopefully the enemy is broken here and they could take a giant burst of damage. In practice, it's going to take a little bit of practice. That makes sense. But learning this team should be a lot of fun. I'm going to do my best to be figuring out the best possible rotations and practicing them, but this is what I got going on in my head right now. Overall, I think Lacrimosa is going to be a pretty strong character. I don't think she's going to be game breaking or broken or anything like that, but I do think that she is going to have her place in the meta and her place in our hearts. Alright guys, well thank you for entertaining me and my silly hair. I'm curious, let me know down below what you guys are thinking of Lacrimosa if you've got your hands on her. I'm probably enjoying the hell out of my A6 Lacrimosa if I manage to get it. So like this video so that other people could see it so I could afford to feed my family. If you've been enjoying the Neverness to Everness content and you want more as we dive into 1.1, a subscription would be greatly appreciated. And I hope to see you in my next video. Peace. My nails match hers too.